Discover the incredible touching journey of a single mom who transformed life for 3 millionaire entrepreneurs. In the heart of Maplewood, where the sound of laughter and the smell of fresh-cut grass fill the air, Sarah Thompson wrestled with life. At 32, she was a single mother battling the weight of her circumstances after her husband walked out one fateful night. With two spirited kids, Jake and Lily, in tow, Sarah worked double shifts waitressing at the local diner, cleaning houses at night. Each day felt like a marathon, the finish line always just out of reach. She felt the sting of judgment whenever she made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for the kids' lunches, while their classmates flaunted sandwiches with gourmet ingredients. Poor kids, the whispers echoed in the hallways, slicing through her heart, leaving her gasping for hope. Yet, underneath the crushing financial burden burned an unwavering determination. The American dream felt elusive, but Sarah wasn't one to back down. With every shift, every scrubbing of floors, she dreamed of better days, envisioning her kids standing tall unshaken by the stigma that hovered over them like dark clouds. They deserved more. The gnawing ache inside her wouldn't let her rest. That's when inspiration struck. What if she could rally the community? With that thought igniting a fire in her chest, she started organizing neighborhood yard sales and events to fund the local youth center. At first, her neighbors looked on skeptically, but slowly, Sarah's infectious spirit began to break down barriers. Folks she had waved to, but never talked to, started showing up. A couple of them even pitched in supplies, their lawns becoming a canvas of camaraderie painted with hope. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Empowered by newfound friendships, Sarah discovered that humility has a way of softening the hardest hearts. Then, a twist of fate emerged. 3 wealthy local entrepreneurs, men who once viewed her as merely a statistic, took notice of Sarah. They were moved by her relentless drive, witnessing the change she was architecting. They wondered aloud what pouring resources into her efforts might accomplish not just for Sarah, but for all of Maplewood. But with this attention came a cloud of doubt. Could she handle the spotlight? Would embracing this opportunity mean betraying the very people she had vowed to uplift? At a town hall meeting, the tension was palpable. Conversations brewed, charged with status and merit, and the ugliest prejudices bubbled to the surface. As Sarah looked across the sea of faces, she felt her heart pounding fiercely. Stepping up to the microphone, she could hear the whispers crescendo. Would her unwavering love for her children shine through? Could she unite a town fractured by invisible lines? In that moment, Sarah realized the stakes of her speech weren't just about her future, they symbolized hope for all the poor kids fighting the same battle. As the crowd's collective breath seemed to hitch, Sarah faced the biggest question of her life: would she fight for her dreams while lifting others, too? The room fell silent, anticipation thick in the air. Sarah took a deep breath, her choice looming like a shadow. It felt monumental, and change was perched on the edge, waiting to unfold. What would she decide? Entrepreneurs. Sarah's voice quivered slightly as she let out a deep breath. The silence in the room felt suffocating, pressing against her chest like a weight. She glanced at Jake and Lily, whose innocent eyes held a fierce spark of hope, and took another step closer to the microphone. People of Maplewood, she began, her voice growing stronger, I stand before you not just as a single mom struggling to make ends meet, but as a neighbor, a friend, and a believer in our community. For too long, we've let fear dictate the narrative of our lives, including mine. We've allowed whispers of judgment to drown out the voices of love and support. She let those words sink into the audience, watching as heads slowly nodded, hearts starting to open. I've felt the sting of being labeled less than just because my family struggles. But my kids Jake and Lily are not less than anyone else. They are gifted with dreams and talents. The pride in her voice warmed the room like the sun breaking through winter clouds. But I can't do this alone, Sarah continued, emboldened by the murmurs of agreement around her. Our town needs to be a place where every child can flourish. Where support and encouragement are our strongest currencies. She could feel a ripple of energy start to spread through the crowd. Together, we can raise funds for our youth center, provide resources for the kids, and create a safe haven where they can learn and grow. The sight of familiar faces, neighbors, friends sparked a fire within her. Let us turn our struggles into strengths. Let us write a new story for Maplewood, one that is rich with hope, collaboration, and love. The room erupted into applause, a wave of sound that washed over Sarah like rain after a long drought. Yet, among the excitement, doubt still gnawed at her insides. What if these feelings were just a momentary high? Would they actually come together to support the vision she had laid before them? As she stepped back from the microphone, the three entrepreneurs approached her. Each one wore expressions that ranged from admiration to disbelief. One of them, Marcus Hayes, a sharp-suited businessman with a reputation for being a tough nut to crack, extended his hand toward her. I was impressed by your passion, Sarah. We'd like to support your initiatives personally. The air crackled with possibilities. New paths seemed to bloom like flowers in spring, but Sarah felt a flicker of discomfort. Did they truly understand the responsibility they were stepping into? I appreciate that, but I want to be sure we're in this together, she said, her heart racing. It's not just about funding, it's about making sure the community feels that they have a stake in this too. Marcus nodded, intrigued. That's exactly the spirit we need. We won't just help financially, we want to be part of this transformation. After all, we're all part of this community. As conversations heated up around her, Sarah could barely hold back the swell of emotions threatening to spill from her eyes. Hope intertwined with apprehension. Was she truly capable of catalyzing such change? Questions raced in her mind, each one louder than the last. What if past judgments returned to haunt her? Suddenly, the town hall door burst open, and a frazzled man rushed in, breathless and wide-eyed, drawing everyone's attention. You have to hear this. He shouted, a sense of urgency in his voice. Sarah's heart skipped a beat. What news could this mystery visitor possibly hold? The room quieted, all eyes on the door, waiting for the revelation that could shift everything around her yet again. The man's eyes darted around the room, his breath ragged as if he'd run miles just to deliver this message. The crowd, previously buoyed by Sarah's rallying speech, now sat on edge, anticipation hanging in the air like a thick fog. What is it? Someone called out, breaking the anxious silence. The man took a moment to steady himself, then spoke, his voice rising with urgency. I was just at the market. There's been an incredible turnout. People are ready to pitch in, to help. A wave of murmurs washed over the audience. Sarah felt hope flicker, igniting the doubts that had been gathering in her mind. Could this really be happening? But there's more, the man continued, gathering his thoughts. A couple from out of town wants to invest in our youth center, and they're looking for a meeting with whoever's leading the charge now. That's something, Marcus interrupted, a gleam of excitement evident in his sharp eyes. This could be what we need to truly kickstart this initiative. Sarah blinked, swallowing hard as reality hit her. This wasn't merely a chance. A lifeline had just been tossed into the tumultuous waters of her dreams. But with it came an avalanche of questions. What if they don't align with our vision? She muttered under her breath, her apprehension returning. Sarah, Lily whispered, having moved closer, they could help a lot of kids. Isn't that good? Yeah, Mom. Jake added. Really good. Their trusting faces reminded her why she began this journey. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward again, feeling the eyes of the crowd upon her. "This is our moment, Maplewood," she declared, her voice steadying. "Let us make sure we meet with this couple, and let us show them that we're worthy of their investment together." Applause erupted again, a wave of energy surging through the room, pushing Sarah into a whirlwind of determination. They needed to organize quickly. She knotted her fingers, heart racing with anticipation. "Let us set up a community meeting. I want everyone to have a part in this. Let us brainstorm and come up with our ideas and needs." The murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd as neighbors began discussing who could lead various initiatives. Sarah could see a blossoming sense of ownership, the desire to be a part of something greater, binding the community in a shared purpose. Just as she felt the tide of enthusiasm fully embracing her, the frazzled man raised his hand again, his face paling slightly. I should have mentioned. The couple is going to be in town this weekend. They want to hear about our plans, and they're stopping by to see the youth center's site." Her heart dropped. It wasn't just an opportunity, it was a ticking clock. They had only days to pull everything together. "All right, we need to move fast." Marcus took charge, his business demeanor blazing. "Let us form teams to handle outreach, marketing, and a presentation." The mixed feelings of excitement and pressure bubbled within Sarah. Time was of the essence, and she felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. Could they truly put a plan together in time? What if they failed to impress the couple? As conversations kicked off again, Sarah watched her neighbors spring into action. Hope began battling against her fears. Maybe, just maybe, they could do this. But deep down, she wondered if she was ready for this kind of responsibility or if fear would once again creep back in to hold her down. As the meeting dispersed, whispers filled the room, yet the air felt charged with uncertainty. Sarah took one last glance at her children before stepping away, each heartbeat echoing questions that lingered in her thoughts. Could she lead this charge? Or would the weight of expectation crush her dreams before they had a chance to soar? With a deep breath, she made her way toward the door. Little did she know that an unexpected visitor awaited her outside, one who would challenge everything she thought she knew about community and support. As Sarah pushed the heavy door open, a chilly breeze brushed against her skin, startling her from the swirl of thoughts occupying her mind. Sunlight poured down, illuminating the parking lot that buzzed with different activities. It was a comforting sight, people coming together, but it only intensified her worries. She needed to get home and start planning. But before she could take a step, a figure caught her eye. A woman stood just a few feet away, cloaked in a long woolen coat, her dark hair blowing freely in the wind. There was something striking about her presence, as though she'd arrived on a mission. "Excuse me, are you Sarah?" the woman asked, her voice confident yet warm. "Yes, I am," Sarah replied, curiosity piqued. "Can I help you?" The woman smiled, offering a hand. "I'm Alice. I heard about your plans for the youth center. I've been following your story since the beginning." Surprise washed over Sarah. "Really? I didn't think many people outside of Maplewood knew. There's more interest in your project than you realize. Just yesterday, I was meeting with a few local investors, and your initiative came up. People are excited to see something good happen in towns like yours," Alice said, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. Sarah felt a flicker of hope. "That's good to hear, but we're under some tight deadlines. We have this couple visiting soon, and I'm not sure we'll be ready." Alice nodded, understanding her concern. "I get it. That's why I'm here. I can help you organize your presentation and reach out to more people who may want to contribute. Together, we can build something incredible." The weight of anxiety began to lift from Sarah's shoulders, and she could feel a thread of possibility weaving through her thoughts. Could this stranger really help them? Or was it too good to be true? "Are you sure you can take on that much?" Sarah asked, studying Alice's face for signs of stress. "Absolutely. I thrive on challenges. Just show me what you've got, and let us make it shine, she replied with unwavering confidence. Sarah's heart raced. She remembered the faces of her children, the dreams she had tucked away. If this was a chance to do something big, she couldn't let fear stop her. Okay, let us do it. But time is really limited. Don't worry about that. I'll gather resources, pitch in with marketing, anything you need, Alice asserted, determination shimmering in her voice. Just then, Jake and Lily ran outside, their laughter contrasting with the tension clinging to Sarah. They wrapped their arms around her, and the sight of their innocent joy grounded her, reminding her of what really mattered. Mom, we're going to make this place awesome, right? Jake exclaimed, excitement bubbling over. Yes, we are. Sarah replied, feeling renewed strength surge through her. With Alice's support, things were beginning to look promising. Maybe, just maybe, she could take the leap she so often feared. As they began discussing how best to prepare, Sarah realized that help had arrived just when she needed it most. But just as they started brainstorming ideas, a sudden commotion swept through the parking lot. A black SUV pulled in, and men in sharp suits stepped out. The whisper of rumors instantaneously filled the air. Was this the couple they had been waiting for? Was it too soon? Heart pounding, Sarah exchanged glances with Alice. This was at an unexpected turn that could change everything. What were they about to face? As the men in suits strode toward them, Sarah's heart raced, every instinct screaming for her to step forward. But she hesitated, her anxiety still hovering just beneath the surface. Their confident demeanor seemed to mirror the air of urgency that surrounded the youth center's project. Are those? Jake whispered, tugging at Sarah's sleeve, his eyes wide with curiosity. Yes, Sarah replied, her voice barely above a whisper. This is them. Alice, however, stood unmoved, her expression calm. We're ready for this, Sarah. Just keep your cool. Right, but what if she began, only for Alice to interrupt her with a reassuring nod. As the men approached, one of them stepped forward. His tailored suit and polished shoes screamed authority. The sunlight shone off his nearly bald head, and his eyes were hidden behind dark sunglasses. Are you Sarah Fields? He asked, his voice deep and steady. Yes, that's me, Sarah replied, forcing her voice to be steady even as it wavered. I'm Alex Thorne, he introduced himself, removing his sunglasses to reveal bright but assessing blue eyes. We've been following your project's progress, and we're interested in what you have to present. A tingling sensation raced through her, a mix of hope and disbelief. Really? You want to invest? She asked, trying to hide the tremor in her voice. Let us just say we're intrigued, he said, glancing at his companions, who nodded in agreement. Fighting against a surge of anxiety, Sarah gestured to Alice. This is Alice. She's helping me organize the presentation. Good to see you. We appreciate the support, Alex said, eyeing Alice with a newfound curiosity. Let us hear your vision. The pressure clamped down on Sarah's chest, but she took a deep breath. Stepping forward, she felt the enveloping warmth of her children's presence. We aim to create a safe place for our community's youth. Something more than just a center, an opportunity for growth, empowerment, and unity. Jake watched, his eyes sparkling with pride, while Lily perched on her hip like a small cheerleader, her legs swinging. Communities are built on opportunities, Sarah continued, feeling the rhythm of her words fall into place. I want to inspire the kids here, to show them that they can dream bigger. We need their trust, their belief in themselves. Alex nodded. What's your vision for funding? Glimpsing Alice's encouraging smile, Sarah added, we've started outreach, but we need more resources to make this vision a reality. Anything you can provide would make a difference. Just when it seemed everything was flowing smoothly, a phone rang sharply, slicing through the tension surrounding them. It was Alice S., and she quickly stepped aside to answer. Sarah's pulse quickened again as she caught Alex's gaze, which was now scrutinizing. His brow arched slightly. "I hope you know what you're asking for, Sarah. This isn't just charity. It's an investment." "I understand," Sarah replied, her heart pounding. "But it's not just about money. It's about people, change, and building a better future." Tension crackled in the air. How much of that future was she prepared to risk? Were they prepared to invest in her dreams, or would they crush them? Just then, Alice returned, her expression tense. "We need to talk, Sarah. It's about the funding." There's a twist. Fear shot through her veins. What twist? Nothing could derail her efforts now. "What do you mean?" she asked, dread pooling in her stomach. For a moment, time stood still, everyone hanging on a thread of uncertainty. "What if the company funding you has a hidden agenda?" Alice's voice fell flat, dropping a heavy weight on Sarah's shoulders. In the midst of this pivotal moment, Sarah found herself teetering between excitement and dread. What lay ahead could steer them in very different directions. Sarah felt her heart drop at Alice's words. Hidden agenda? The thought sent tremors through her body. She struggled to maintain her focus as she searched Alex's expression for a hint of any ulterior motive. An agenda? She echoed, her voice shaking. She had come too far to let doubts take root now. Alice glanced back at Alex, who stood there, assessing them like a hawk. "We just need to be careful," she urged. "You're handing over a lot of trust. What if their vision for our project differs from ours?" "I realize that," Sarah replied, her throat dry, but a new resolve began to bubble within her. They had come to the meeting with dreams and hopes, and the slightest flicker of doubt couldn't extinguish that fire. "But we can't allow fear to hold us back. I need to know if they're serious." Jake played with Lily's hair, his gaze shifting between the adults, senses tuned to the tension in the air. Sarah looked down at her children, grounding herself in their innocence. "We have to believe in what we're doing." Alex remained quiet, studying her carefully. His companions shifted slightly, almost as if they sensed the tension thickening. "What do you really want, Sarah?" he finally asked, breaking the silence, his voice low and steady. "To make a difference," she blurted out. "To give young people a sense of purpose, a voice. I know what they need, and I can feel how much hope they've lost. They can change, we can help them change." The sincerity in her words hung in the air, potent and unwavering. For a moment, the world felt completely still. Alex's eyes flickered with something. Was it recognition? "Look," he began, "we want to see a proposal. But it's more than funding. It's about alignment. You don't just need cash, you need partners who share your vision." Sarah straightened, the spark reigniting in her chest. "Then let us align. If you're really interested, let us lay everything out on the table and get to work on making this a reality." Alice stepped closer to Sarah, a hint of silent support in her stance. But needling doubt tugged at her. And if their goals don't align with ours? What if this was a gamble that could ruin everything? But deep down, Sarah also sensed this was the moment to grasp what could save the youth center. Her voice firm, she replied, "We'll find a way to navigate through that." As if sensing a shift in momentum, the men in suits exchanged glances. Alex nodded, slowly, thoughtfully. "All right. Let us set aside your fears. How about we meet tomorrow to discuss the specifics? We'll bring our resources, and you bring your passion." "Tomorrow?" Sarah asked, her heart racing with an unfamiliar mix of anticipation and anxiety. "Yes. We'll see if we can make this work," he replied, slipping his sunglasses back on. Before her excitement could take full flight, a sharp pang of dread struck her again. What if they revealed something she couldn't handle? "I'll hold you to that," she said, swallowing the lump in her throat as she extended her hand, sealing a pact she couldn't fully understand yet. The handshake felt pivotal, like the crossing of a bridge to a dark forest where anything could lie ahead. With one last glance at her children's strong, steadfast anchors in her stormy seas, she watched the men walk away, the space around them charged with uncertainty. "What if you get hurt, Sarah?" Alice murmured as the kids began asking questions, but Sarah could hardly focus. Beneath the shock of possibility, a tiny spark of hope flickered within her. "We'll figure it out. We have to." But deep down, the echo of Alice's warning whispered through her mind as they began walking home. Could she really trust them? Tomorrow would come with its own set of decisions, and with it, the potential for either the greatest change or the darkest deception. The weight of it pushed against her, and she bit her lip, glancing back at the retreating figures of the men. Could this partnership unveil new opportunities, or would it threaten to unravel everything she had worked so hard to build? Sarah's resolve may have sparked, but the path ahead was still murky, flanked with trepidation and the promise of what could be. The morning sun spilled through the kitchen window, painting warm rectangles on the worn floor. Sarah stood there, a steaming cup of coffee clasped in her hands, staring off into the distance. Today was the day. The day she would meet Alex and his partners to discuss their potential collaboration. But the excitement was shadowed by a whirl of anxiety. Children's laughter broke her trance, drawing her focus back to the present. Jake and Lily were at the table, their cereal bowls nearly empty, faces lit with carefree joy. She couldn't help but smile. They were her anchor in this turbulent sea of decisions, their innocence buoyed her spirits. "Mom, can we go to the park today?" Jake piped up, crumbs spilling from his mouth. "After my meeting, maybe," she replied, her voice lighter than she felt. Lily leaned in closer, peering at her. "Are you nervous about your meeting, Mom?" The question, delivered with childlike sincerity, tugged at Sarah's heart. "Just a little, sweetie. But it's a good kind of nervous. It means something exciting is happening. I think you're going to be great," Jake declared, his confidence infecting the room. "Thanks, buddy," Sarah replied, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. Their belief in her capacity to make a difference filled her with courage. How could she not try when they saw her as a hero? As they finished eating, she began mentally preparing for what lay ahead. What specifics would Alex want? How could she weave their concerns into her vision? With each passing moment, the questions piled up, however, the determination blossomed within her. After dropping the children off at school, Sarah found herself standing outside the address of the meeting, her heart hammering in her chest. The sleek building seemed imposing, its glass facade reflecting her uncertain expression back at her. She took a deep breath, put one foot in front of the other, and entered. Inside, the atmosphere buzzed with an understated intensity. Smartly dressed individuals moved around, engaged in conversations, and she felt the weight of ambition hanging in the air. Her pulse quickened as she approached the conference room where the meeting would take place. Alex was already there, seated with his colleagues. They greeted her with nods, their serious faces betraying no emotion. She swallowed her nerves and stepped forward, her heart racing. "Thanks for meeting with me." "No problem. We're curious to hear what you've got," Alex replied, gesturing for her to sit. As she launched into her proposal, she felt the initial tremors of fear dissipate. This was her vision. Her passion spilled over stories of the kids at the center, their struggles, their dreams, and the transformations they could achieve with the right guidance. Each word held the weight of her commitment, and she saw flickers of interest in their eyes. Yet, as she spoke, a voice inside her nagged at the corners of her mind. Was this all too good to be true? Could they really align? She pushed the doubt aside. Focused on what mattered, those kids. As she wrapped up, silence fell, thick and heavy. Was that a good silence? Finally, Alex leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. I appreciate your passion, Sarah. However, we need to make sure every aspect of our strategy is sound. There's a lot at stake here. Totally understand, she assured him, swallowing hard. But I need a partner who believes in my mission as much as I do. The words hung in the air, waiting for a response. The room felt still, charged with unspoken tension. What if this was it? What if this changed everything or nothing? Just then, the door swung open, and a newcomer stepped in, a woman in a bright scarf with an infectious smile. She looked directly at Alex. I'm sorry I'm late. I ran into traffic. Sarah felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her. Who was she? And why did her presence shift the energy in the room? As the woman approached, Sarah's heart raced. What complications lay ahead with this new player in the mix? Would they truly stand behind her vision, or would she be left standing alone? In that moment, with questions pouring through her mind, she realized how much was riding on this meeting. Could this be the turning point she had been longing for, or the start of a new nightmare? The clock ticked ominously, and Sarah braced herself for whatever would come next. Sarah took a deep breath, forcing herself to steady her racing heart. The new woman, bright scarf and all, exuded a confidence that put her on edge. As she moved to greet Alex, Sarah's eyes drifted to the table where her proposal documents lay, slightly crumpled. Let me introduce you, Alex said, gesturing toward the newcomer. This is Maya, our marketing strategist. Nice to meet you, Sarah. I've heard great things about your work. Maya's smile was genuine, though it felt like 1,000 skills were being evaluated in an instant. Thanks, Maya. Glad to have you here, Sarah replied, surprised by her own eagerness to connect. Just heard your proposal. It sounds fantastic, Maya continued, her voice warm. We need a vision like yours to make a difference. The comfort of Maya's words washed over Sarah like a balm, momentarily easing her tension. And yet, anxiety curled back into her stomach when she remembered how much was at stake. I appreciate that, she said, maintaining her resolve. But it's going to take commitment from all of us to make it happen. Alex sat quietly, assessing the exchange. Sarah could feel the weight of his gaze. She pressed on, laying out the details of her plan again, but this time, she included some of the stories that had always fueled her passion. The kids at the center, their dreams, the way they lit up when given hope. Maya nodded along, chiming in with ideas and questions that kept the momentum alive. We can use social media to spread awareness, she suggested. And maybe host an event to draw in the community. With every moment that passed, Sarah felt the walls of self-doubt start to crumble. There was an energy in the room, slowly shifting, sharpening into something tangible. The tension she had felt earlier transformed into a shared hope, a common cause. She shared her vision for a workshop series, how art could empower the kids and allow them to express themselves. You'd be amazed at what they're capable of, Sarah urged, her voice growing excited. I believe it, Maya said enthusiastically, her eyes lighting up. We can tailor your workshops to draw sponsors, and we just need a creative hook. As they discussed the potential, Sarah's confidence grew, fueled by Maya's insights and Alex's considered nods. She could see them becoming partners, even allies in her vision. Yet, when Alex cleared his throat, the room fell silent again. His brow furrowed slightly, the analytical side of him returning. All this is great, but we need a detailed plan, metrics, outcomes, timelines. Numbers are as important as vision here. Of course, Sarah replied, though dread pooled in her stomach at the technical demands. I can work on that. I just need your faith behind me. We can show investors the impact we're aiming for. But something wasn't entirely right. There was a flicker in Maya's eyes, a momentary flicker of something unclear. Was it doubt? Or was she just searching for more information to digest? With the meeting drawing to a close, Alex's expression softened somewhat. Let's take some time to analyze your proposal, Sarah. We'll regroup, and I promise we'll keep the lines of communication open. Thank you, Sarah whispered, carrying both hope and caution with her. As she gathered her things, she had a fleeting thought: was it too good to be true? Had she really found allies in a world so often filled with skepticism? Maya leaned closer, catching Sarah's eye. You really were amazing in there. I can see how passionate you are. I appreciate that, Sarah responded, feeling a spark of connection. But lingering questions clouded her mind. Did this offer of camaraderie come with hidden strings? Walking out of the building, Sarah fought to shake off the uncertainty. She was energized yet guarded. The prospect of not just making a difference, but potentially redefining her life and her children's future filled her with a mix of excitement and concern. As she stepped out into the sunlight, she felt a sense of hope blossoming alongside her trepidation. But now everything hinged on the next steps and the alliance she had started to forge. With so much still undefined, did she have enough grit to navigate whatever would unfold next? The journey ahead promised twists, and the path would require all the strength she could muster. Could she truly balance her ambition with the uncertainties that lay ahead? As she glanced back at the building, a question loomed: would she find her way through this maze, or would the dream slip through her fingers just when she thought it was within reach? Sarah walked down the bustling city street, her heart still racing from the whirlwind meeting. The chatter of pedestrians brushed past her like the wind. She clutched her bag tightly, her fingers entwined with the crumpled edges of her proposal. The sunlight felt warmer, almost nourishing, but it couldn't fully chase away the shadows of doubt lingering in her mind. What if Alex was right? What if she couldn't deliver the metrics they needed? The idea of analyzing numbers made her uneasy, tightening a knot in her stomach. She had spent so much time focusing on the passion behind her mission that the administrative side had felt secondary, an afterthought. Now, it loomed over her, a heavy burden only intensified by her newfound hope. But alongside the worry, something else ignited within her, a flicker of determination. She remembered the kids, their laughter echoing in her memory. They weren't just statistics. They were smiling faces full of dreams, each one deserving of a chance to shine. Sarah shook her head as if she could physically rid herself of the nagging doubts. No, she wasn't going to let fear dictate her path. She needed to believe in her vision and rally her plans into something firm, something irrefutable. Later that evening, Sarah sat at her kitchen table, papers spread out before her. The setting sun spilled golden light across the table, inspiring her as she began to jot down ideas and structure her thoughts. Metrics? She would take those numbers and sculpt them into stories, the stories of the kids who could break barriers, given the right support and tools. Each one mattered, and she would find a way to articulate that impact. As she scribbled, the familiar cadence of her children's laughter filled the house. They rushed from room to room, tiny feet pattering, overtaken by their own joyous renditions of superhero stories. That sound slipped warmth into Sarah's heart, reminding her why she was working so hard. Mom! Look what we made! Her youngest, Lily, burst into the kitchen, holding a crookedly drawn picture that depicted their family as stick figures standing on top of a mountain. That's incredible, honey! Sarah exclaimed, pulling her daughter close. You all look like champions. Just like you, Mom. Lily grinned, her eyes shining with admiration. But in that moment, Sarah felt the weight of the comparison. Could she really be a champion for those kids if she struggled to face her own obstacles? That night, in the quiet of her home, Sarah took a long look around. She saw so much love, so much promise. Determinedly, she picked up her phone and texted Maya. Can we meet again soon? I want to refine the proposal and hear your thoughts on how we can really make an impact. The reply came swiftly, filled with encouragement. Absolutely. Excited to hear more. As she put down her phone, a surge of hope filled her. But with it came uncertainty. Could she keep up this momentum? What if she fell short when pushing against the challenges ahead? The next day, armed with her refined ideas and fresh energy, Sarah approached the meeting room once more. She took a deep breath, her heart steadying as determination surged within her. But just as she began to feel the thrill of possibility, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from Alex. "Can we talk before the meeting? There's something important I need to discuss." Sarah's heart dropped. What could it be? The possibilities twisted in her mind like a tornado spiraling out of control. Taking a step forward, she prepared for whatever came next. Would the news thrust her toward her dreams or push her deeper into doubt? With her pulse quickening, she took a deep breath. She was ready to confront whatever was coming, but would she be able to handle the reality of the moment? As Sarah stood outside the polished glass doors of the meeting venue, the world around her felt both vast and thunderously close. A part of her quivered with unease from Alex's text. A talk sounded serious, it could tip the scales of everything she'd worked for. Gifts of determination pushed her forward. She had come too far to turn back now. With a deep breath, she stepped into the building, her heart racing with both dread and excitement. Inside, she found Alex seated at the conference table, a serious look etched on his face. The room hummed with an undercurrent of tension. "Thank you for meeting me early, Sarah," he began, his voice stoic. "Of course," she replied, battling the unknown swirling in her gut. "What's on your mind?" "There's been an unexpected change," he said, leaning forward, fingers intertwined. "My partners and I have discussed our vision. We want to make a sizable investment, but we need to ensure that our goals align completely before moving forward." A rush of cautious hope mixed with anxiety filled her chest. "I understand. How can we ensure that?" "We'll need to look closely at your proposal. We want you to show what that alignment looks like, how you intend to measure success through metrics, timelines, all of it. Statistics that speak volumes." "Okay," she nodded, though her mind raced. "I can lay that out. I'll give you a timeline filled with goals based on the youth we're helping. But it's about more than numbers, it's about lives transformed." "I believe it, and that's why we're here," he said, right after she spoke. "But without solid numbers to back it up, we might struggle to rally broader community support." Frustration bubbled within her. They wanted partnerships, investments, and validation wrapped surrounding neat statistics. But could she truly encapsulate hope in those figures? "So, you're saying if I can't fit my vision into numbers, we're at risk?" "There are factors at play," he replied gently. "But I promise you, we genuinely want this partnership to happen. Your passion made us notice. We want to help. You have to trust that I can do that," she urged, impulsively leaning closer to him. "I will find a way to show you the real impact, the real stories." His blue eyes softened, and for the first time, a flicker of support flashed within them. "I see it in you, Sarah. That's why we want you to lead this." "Then give me time," she pleaded. "I just need a little more to shape the foundation of our partnership." "Okay. Let's finalize that proposal later today," he stated, nodding slowly. "But you can do this. I believe in your passion." With those words, Sarah felt a light pierce through her clouds of uncertainty. Perhaps she could do this. As the meeting confirmed time for her to prepare her proposal later that day, Sarah stepped back outside, breathing deeply, soaking up every ounce of hopeful energy that surrounded her. Undoubtedly, Alex had given her the spark she needed, but the real power would lie within supporting her community and their children. She could do this, not just for herself, but for them. As Sarah returned home, everything shifted. The evening sun cast a warm glow in her living room, and she watched her kids play on the floor. Their laughter erupted like fireworks, igniting every ounce of joy she held deep within. "Mom, can I help you with the project?" Jake chirped, dashing over to her, eyes wide with eagerness. Lily joined, waving a stack of colored paper. Can we make posters? Surprise jolted through her, she hadn't even thought about involving them in the proposal. Yes. Absolutely. Their enthusiasm transformed the daunting task into a shared adventure. Together, they cut colorful paper, drawing out images of kids laughing and playing everything she envisioned for the youth center. As they crafted their posters, an overwhelming sense of hope surged through the room, spreading like golden sunlight. Sarah watched her children's faces illuminated with dreams, their innocence reminding her why she was fighting so hard. With renewed energy, she turned to her trusty laptop, guided by sweet little hands. Alongside her, they scribbled ideas together, weaving their hopes into a tangible proposal. Sarah's heart swelled as they brainstormed metrics. What they created together would hold meaning beyond ordinary numbers. Each paper cut reflected dreams, and every color illustrated hope. As night draped over Maplewood, they completed the project, snuggled close together on the couch, fingers sticky with glue and remnants of creativity. Tomorrow would bring crucial meetings, but as Sarah smiled at her kids, she felt empowered. They faced every challenge together and navigated through uncertainty as a family. Tomorrow would be yet another chance to collaborate her dreams and their futures woven into the same fabric of hope. As she tucked her kids in, fatigue began to settle in her bones. But with every goodnight kiss, energy surged within her. This was just one chapter of their shared journey. The promise of tomorrow lay ahead, pulsating with infinite possibilities. In that moment of tranquility, Sarah knew she had what it took to keep pushing forward. No matter the uncertainty that lay ahead, she had a community to uplift, dreams to ignite, and hope to spread. It was time to embrace the unknown with open arms, all while knowing she would never walk alone. To the audience eagerly tuning in, this is the moment to support this channel. You need to subscribe immediately to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire transformations just like Sarah's. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread these powerful messages. Comment your thoughts, your feelings about this ending, because your voice truly matters here. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Join us, be part of the change.